decision, I booked a show that shot in Toronto, and I was like, well, I'll just go to Toronto and shoot that show. So it was pretty easy. I never lived anywhere else aside from Vancouver in my life, really. I've traveled, but I've never lived anywhere, which is great growing up in a city that is so saturated with the film industry, but it's also tough because it's easy to get comfortable and almost complacent, at least for me it was. So coming to Toronto and working on Cracked has been a really, really great blessing. And I just decided to put down roots here, enjoy the city, get to know a new city, and I mean the film and TV industry is great here, so it was all worked out in positive ways. I think it's less that there's something about procedurals and more that it's something about just the way I am in general in life. I've always been a very kind of studious person. I've always loved school, I've loved reading, I love the structure of all of that, and I think that was kind of a natural slide into procedurals. Not that I don't love and wouldn't embrace any other kind of role outside of the procedural world, and I have done some for sure, but I just think that's sort of the place that I'm naturally most comfortable on. It's just been kind of a natural transition into procedurals. And if you listen to my voice, I know it's deeper and I'm more of a kind of a grounded person, which was difficult when I was young and I was trying to book high school, and they took a look at me like, oh yeah, she looks high school, and then they heard my voice and they're like, that's not high school, I don't know who that is. So that was a little trickier. Procedurals is a good place for me. I compete very hard with myself, and I measure things very strongly against my own expectation. I don't think I really compete with other people that much. I'm not a highly competitive person on the outside. Maybe a little bit on the inside, but that's some real deep Freudian psychoanalysis that I haven't quite tapped into. I don't know. But yeah, my standards have always been very high for myself, which is kind of difficult when they're so high that you're almost never happy with your work. Like, I have such a hard time even watching what I do, out of anxiety that I'm not going to like something, because if I do see something that I didn't like, or oh, I don't like the way that take as opposed to the other one we did, or the way it was cut, or because so many things have an impact on your performance, it definitely causes a lot of frustration with myself. But the best way for me to use that, because I know it about myself, is to just channel it into continually doing the best work I can and getting better and getting better. So that's sort of the way I've found to make that a positive for myself. I absolutely love theater, but I don't know if I would go back to theater right now, just because I've now over the past 7 years really grown up in the world of film and television, and I really like it. And there's very unique challenges to it when you're trying to tell a story. There's a lot of stop-start and jumping around, but when the microscope is this close and they see this, it's not a full body performance necessarily that you're connecting with someone who's 100 yards away. You're connecting with someone in their living room right here. You can see, it's almost like you can reach into someone's soul and make them feel things if you do your job right. And there's such a intimacy in that, and I really, really like that about film and television, what you can do with that medium. So I would like to stay in film and TV for now. But, we'll see how things go. I never say no to the future. I have no idea. I might not even be acting 5 years from now. I might be living on the other side of the world raising sheep or something. I don't have a definite end goal right now. I just want to continue to work on really interesting projects that tell captivating human stories, and Oftentimes I find when I read scripts and I read sides for characters, every time you open up a new file when you're going through projects, it's always a new experience, and you don't know what you're going to be getting yourself into necessarily. So with that in mind, I have no idea the kinds of things that are going to be coming my way. I just keep my mind very open and try to sort of turn my focus based on what inspires me and where I'm at personally. And I'm really excited to see what comes. Obviously, features are amazing. I've done some work in a few. I would love to continue exploring that avenue. But it's all great. I mean, it's all wonderful. There's opportunity to tell great human stories in all mediums, in all different kinds of frameworks, dramas, procedurals, comedy. So I just want to see where the river takes me. One piece of advice I would give to up-and-coming actors is to just, I guess two, if that's okay. One is to work hard. Just keep going, no matter what you hear that discourages you. You have to fight through it. You have to fight through the laziness. You have to fight through the fear, because that is the only way that you're going to get seen by the people who want to hire you. Because there's a lot of people out there who can see you and appreciate the work you do, but maybe you're just not what they're looking for. It's not personal. And I heard this one thing one time, I can't even remember who told me. I think it was a famous quote by a famous actor. And they said, the actors who work the most. And that always stuck with me. And I have found it to be true, because when I'm in a good mindset and I'm working hard, that's when things happen. And when I'm in a strange place and maybe I'm not quite in the zone, you find you don't work the same way. So it's a very direct correlation, I found. And the second piece of advice would be to always learn from everything that you see as a mistake that you do. Because if you do one thing and you feel, I can't believe I did that, I can't believe I said that in that audition, I can't believe I did that in that scene, I had that one day on set and I think I screwed it up. You have to forgive yourself for everything you see as a mistake, and you have to learn from it, and you have to tell yourself, it's a good thing I learned this now, because, if I learned this when I had my big feature and I was number one, I might have thrown the whole thing in the garbage, but I'm learning it now, which is good. So keep it in a positive light and then continue to move forward.